You know, we were raped and abused in 1977 in Kirkcudbright Care Home.
At your story first, that would be great.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, in 2013, 2010, the HIA inquiry was formed back home in Northern Ireland, and they were looking at historical institutional abuse. So me and Joe were approached, and at first we were a bit reluctant because we reported our abuse back in 1977, and nobody believed us then. So we were a wee bit reluctant with this report because we thought, well, why should people believe us now? But to cut a long story short, in 2010, we made our statements. The inquiry started in 2013 and it finished in 2017. Now, the Northern Ireland inquiry investigated 22 institutions right the way across Northern Ireland, and all those institutions, bar one, were found guilty of mental, physical and sexual abuse right the way to 22 institutions. In 2017 we won our inquiry. It was one of the biggest inquiries in Europe at the time. The 530 victims came forward. During the inquiry, 90 victims either died or committed suicide. Because obviously, when you've bottled something up as long as that has, you don't realise the Pandora's box that you're going to open up when you have to resit and go over the whole thing again and again and again.
Relive it.
And relive your nightmare. But, like I said, we won the inquiry. We changed 127 laws, child protection laws, which haven't even been, we changed them, they haven't even been implemented yet, so we have to start asking why that hasn't happened yet.
I do find that any other laws I have no problem in passing quite quickly. Do you find that?
Yeah.
But when it comes to anything to do with paedophilia or sexual abuse, it's a fight for the victim, isn't it? It's an ongoing fight.
You would think straight away, when it comes to the protection of children, that something like that it wouldn't even be an argument. It should be done. End of. But this is the problem we're having now. When it comes to the abuse of children in this country, or any other country for that matter, it's always a fight to get changes, and it shouldn't be.
Well, it's allowed to happen in, we were raped and abused in 1977 in Kirkcudbright Care Home in St Patrick's. That was in 1977. Me and Bobby's 57 on June the 16th this year. And, I look at paedophilia now, right? Especially when we won the court case. Yeah. And it's a million times worse.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's been implemented to protect children, even though we changed them laws. Them laws haven't even been put through government. So we sit there and go, well, no, me and Bobby don't. We know why. Yeah. And we know that they're complicit in it. There's too much going on. Everybody said today, we don't want to make it a political thing. We don't want to make it this, that and the other.
But it is political.
But it is political.
Because it's government that should be doing these things that aren't.
Yeah, I agree.
When we won our inquiry, you've got £100 million inquiry, HIA inquiry, running right at the minute here in England. They're not going to get the same results as we did. And the reason they're not going to get the same results is because there's too many there's too many politicians involved, there's too many high lords, police chiefs, the whole lot's involved in this one. So I would be I would be shocked.
I could bet £1 million tomorrow to anybody that when we won the biggest court case in Europe, I can bet anybody £1 million tomorrow when it comes to the England inquiry, yeah,
It won't be the same.
it won't be the same.
And you find that things like that aren't in the news. You
not.
don't hear about it, do
Now,
you?
our inquiry was what they call a protected inquiry. I'm not Robert George Blair.
We're a number.
I'm a number.
Right.
And the reason that they did the protected inquiry, because when you have thousands of children coming through a system, a lot of us were abused, but a lot weren't. So the way the Northern Ireland inquiry was run, I could understand that fully, because you would get people coming on there that weren't abused, that would say they were. So that's why it was called a protected inquiry. And there wasn't news reports going into the news and stuff like that as well. But though all saying that, me and Joe ended up in the Sun newspaper exclusive when our case went
waived
through,
our anonymity.
because we waived our anonymity, because I thought, well, they didn't want us to talk about it, and I turned around and said, well, the world should know what I went through, because I don't want this to happen to any other child. So we had to waive our anonymity.
How long did that take? Was that quite
From
hard?
2013 to 2017.
Wow, that was quite
Yeah.
a battle.
I had to sign a legal binding document in front of a judge, in front of a barrister, in front of a solicitor, basically saying that I will talk about the abuse that I went through. The only thing I'm not allowed to do is name names. If I name names, I get a £2,500 fine.
No, 25.
£25,000 fine, sorry.
Fines for
Or-
speaking about what you've gone through.
Or 2.5 years in jail.
So you're being threatened with jail for speaking about your truth,
Yeah.
which is so backwards, isn't it?
I've had multi-millionaires have turned around to me and said, Bobby,
We'll pay.
I will put the money in your bank right now for you to be able to, you should be able to mention your abusers. And I turned around and said, they wouldn't do that. If you could pay that fine, they would just give you the two and a half years in jail.
in prison.
In prison instead.
That's so wrong, isn't it? So wrong.
But it's one of those things, Bob. And everything.
And
that
if
goes out.
anybody wants to go on the HIA website, it's a HIA website, Northern Ireland, right? And you bring the page up, right? I'm 218 and Bobby's 219.
Just about to say, don't give your number, right? But
No, but you can't, because all we are is numbers. The only difference between that,
you wouldn't know
you
unless
don't
I
know
told you.
unless we tell you who we are, because all we are is numbers. And this is through a government-run inquiry, where as a child that was raped and abused, all you are is a number. That's us, the victims, or abusers, or a number.
They're the same.
So they're the same. You can't say nothing about them. The victims have to protect the people that raped and abused us more. They get better help, better treatment
They
than
get
the
more
victims
protection.
do.
more protection than a victim
The
does.
victim does.
And what are you guys' opinion with regards to them saying it's a mental illness and trying to push that into our school system?
When it comes to that, yeah. Well, you ask anybody, yeah. Whenever you got somebody stood in front of you who's been raped and abused as a child, yeah. How can that not form mental abuse
Or mental illness.
or mental illness? Yeah. You're sitting there. We're picking the pieces up now. Yeah. I still have my good days and my bad days, and Bobby does as well, and each and every victim does, because a lot of victims.
Mental health isn't there for
It's
victims.
not there for victims.
I was told, me and Joe camped out on an island for 11 days
Yeah.
against Birmingham Mental Health, because when I first came forward, when I started having my problems, 5 years I was under Birmingham Mental Health. Not one single day of cognitive therapy did I receive. And Birmingham Mental Health were found guilty in a court in Birmingham
Yeah.
of neglect of
Neglect
care,
of care.
wrong pathway of care, everything. So there isn't even the mental health side of things there for victims. And if anybody says that there is,
They're a liar.
well,
Yeah.
I find
they're
that
either extremely lucky or they're not telling the
I
truth.
find that a lot of this falls on the families and friends of the victims to help pick them up and try and, you know, get people back on their feet.
Yeah.
But there's not enough really to help people. And actually, I think what you guys are doing is fantastic, because you go around talking to people and near enough everyone has their own experience or knows someone that's had a similar experience. Personally, was it the Catholic school
Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Me and Joe we were lucky. I don't mean it like that. I mean we're mental health.
Yeah.
In the fact that we've got each other. So if he's having a bad day, I can support him.
Yeah.
If I'm having a bad day, he can support me. But I feel so sorry
I
for the
do as
victims
well.
that are on their own, for the ones that have got nobody, because there's nobody there to pick them up.
And not only that, if you try and report it, you get tarnished a liar before you've even had a chance to explain, don't you? So you feel like, why are you going to fight when you're getting
Well,
knocked
sometimes doing what we do, sometimes you honestly feel like banging your head off that memorial or a brick wall, because when it comes to protection of children, especially children who've been raped and abused or bullied or for whatever, yeah, you know, why we should have 1 million people here today,
Millions here.
and there isn't. And
this is
that's
what
the
we do.
frustrating side
This
of
is
it.
why we do what we do, because we want more and more people to start getting out and supporting rallies like this or whatever, because this is what needs to be done. Because the government aren't going to listen until there are millions of us on the streets.
What you guys are doing is just fantastic. No matter how little or small, like, you're going to get people talking, you're going to get people speaking, and once one person speaks out, you'll find this domino effect. It might take a while.
I've had people ring me, veterans, because we're veterans. Veterans ring me and told me when the only reason why they joined the armed forces because they were raped and abused as children. Yeah, and they wanted to make men out of themselves. They wanted that connection. I've had people, girls ring me, turn around and tell me about their rape and abuse at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And we're like that, we're always there to hear their voice.
My phone's on 24 hours a day.
So's mine.
Any victim, be it a vet, be it an abuse victim, anything. My phone, anybody can, if they're in crisis or need help or need advice or anything like that, my phone's on 24 hours for somebody to ring me. Was it 14 people's lives we saved last year?
Yeah.
10 the year before. So, you know, if I don't like what I do because I shouldn't be doing it, but saving people's lives means everything to me, and that's what I can carry. That's what we'll carry on doing what we do.
We're on about victims, saving victims' lives. Why is the government not doing it?
Yeah.
Why is the centres that should be there not doing it? It comes back to the victims to pick the pieces up and start saving victims' lives. Yeah, because no, look at all these kids playing here today. I know you can't point the camera out. I'm not saying that, but this is the way England should be. Children should be safe to go to a park and play without having predators there.
Yeah.
Right? Children don't need to be educated the way that they're being educated today, learning that you have to play with yourself. Yeah, to pleasure yourself. Yeah. That, to me, is saying, yeah, well, if that's nice, then if a paedophile touches you, it's okay because you won't see that as a threat.
Yeah. I think
And it's wrong, so wrong.
yeah, it is.
I just think that what they're trying to do in this country now, and you can see that through the LGBT community and stuff like that,
Like woke movement.
or the woke movement, that what are they trying to push? We're here trying to do everything that we can to stop vulnerable children or any child becoming a victim.
So if people want to come follow your story and help out in any way, where would they go to help you guys?
You can come on our Facebook. We're Joseph and anybody can Google it. Joseph and Bobby Blair, the real truth tellers. If you Google it,
If you Google anything, our name will come up
our
straight
name
away.
will come up
Have you
straight away.
guys got videos on YouTube as well?
Yes, we've got loads
Yeah.
of
Then go
videos
to
on YouTube.
And what about any Facebook or Instagram pages at all?
Facebook, it's Robert and Joseph Blair.
Yeah.
The Blair Twins, or any. If you just Google the Blair Twins,
Yeah.
our links will come up through Google, through the Facebook, and